$700. Way to go, Kevin. One of the things that happened last night, I will share with people. Crude broke, and in fact, well, I'm trying to think about this. Let's go to a live market just briefly, if we can, if that doesn't mess y'all up too much. If not, we can do it later. I don't know if it's I'd like to look at crude real quick, because last night, my futures first people, if they got in when I told them that I was getting in, they were up about $1,200, got a free scholarship with one contract, putting up $300. I thought that was a heck of a deal. Shoba said, I took profits, I listened. Yep. Yeah, and setting up again for another down day. What I did on Monday night, just to share with any people that's not in Futures First, what I did, I said, folks, this is the trade of the week. It's not ready to go tonight. Here's the number. This is what I would do. And I think that it's going to make some money for you. And so if you look at crude, that's the daily. You see that break we caught this week in there, made a real nice return. It went down to 55. So go to a 30-minute real quick on crude. Jennifer, I'm looking for $45 a barrel over the course of a few months. I hope to trade it about at least 10 to 20 times. Now, if you look at it last night, you can see I was watching it. It dropped, it fell, and then it rallies. If it breaks that, what is that, RB? Trying to see, what is that blue bar right there?
Yeah, that blue bar low is around 56.35, Tom, 56.35. This one over here is 56.28.
Yeah, breaks that, you're going to get another down leg. So keep your eye on it, see if that happens today. But the trade last night was beautiful. It's set up. If you were paying attention, I put warning, 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 time. And then I said, it's go time. And so, you know, having the video, having the strategy we put together was really paid for everybody's futures if they had listened last night. And then let me just mention that real quick. How many of you, now I want you to think about this. I know it's sort of hard to say this because everybody's different. I get that. But how many of you knew if you listened to me in 2026 and listen very smart about how you made your level bets, would want to make money? Because you know that over the course of whatever they deal coming at us, I'm going to figure out a way to make money out of it. And that's the variety of what we do. And I just think that, I think it's just good. Okay. Bob, it's very simple. The ATR crude, you got to know what the ATR crude is. And the ATR crude, you can take it and sort of estimate when you see it, but the ATR crude is $1.56. Well, when it gets down to about $1.40, $1.50, okay, it's time to step aside from its high. That's exactly what most people did. And I've taught this over and over again. So that's how you know. That's how you know. All right, let's go to our slides. I got a lot to talk about today. I call it, today is the fourth day, trade day. I've been excited about this morning. I gave Jonathan 10 stocks I want you to look at. I gave some trigger numbers on those 10, and I got 3 special opportunities. But there is a high degree of risk in trading. Past performance is not indicative of future results, in my opinion. Listen up, learn, educate yourself. I can teach you how to accomplish your goals. I'm pretty confident about that. Not cocky about it, but pretty confident. If you persevere, it won't be just a straight line, you know, and everything, because your education comes along. Last night, I had a discussion with people that were new to options, and I recommended the optionplaybook.com. You ought to get it and read it. you'll be a better option trader because you'll understand the basics of options before you go to my simple course on options. That's my opinion. Optionplaybook.com. Welcome to Train and Trade, exciting time of the day when we meet. I look forward to it every day. How many people look forward to me doing this every day? This is a lot of commitment from Jonathan and Chuck. You know, every day we're here. You know, I mean, it's pretty big commitment. I hope you love it. Talking trade. I don't know what to tell people that's not a member of this. Goodness gracious. I mean, this is something else, this program. This morning, I put out the Magic Five. I laid out today. One day a month would pay for this for the month. Yesterday would have done it. Today would have done it. Go join dtitrader.com/TNT. All right, let's go to our 3-day algo. This is what I discussed with Jeffrey yesterday. In fact, Jonathan, make sure after you get this update, you send it to me. Ask he wants to follow along.
Okay. Yeah. Sent it to him yesterday, but I'll resend him an email just to.
Yeah, give it to him again today because I think he'll get a real kick out. He was really excited when I showed it to him. Jonathan's doing his thing. Let him do his thing. Do your thing, Jonathan.
Now updated as of 11:10 a.m. Eastern time this morning. Looks a little different now. We've got the December high and low. We've got the January open. First 3
Okay,
days.
let me make a point. See that December high on the S&P? We've exceeded it, and that's longer term bullish. That's your first clue that you look for when we're trading 69, 98 or 99. That's slightly above. So we never got near December low. That's bullish. And I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make that point to everybody, Jonathan. Keep going.
Yeah, thank you. That high and low, you can see are set now. All these are set, high and low for the month. As I mentioned yesterday, if you have not restarted your roadmap from overnight session, restart your roadmap if you're using the Schwab feed, and all your stocks will be updated with the correct FTD number. So be sure to do that if you're using the Schwab feed on roadmap. Got a midpoint from the first 3 days. That's 69.29 on the S&P, 60, 70 points above that. Current price as of a moment ago was 69.93. And because 69.93 is above the 3-day high of 69.91, this column out here to the right says long on the S&P. If it were to be the current price, if it were to be below the low from the first 3 days, this column out here to the right that you can only see half of would say short. We don't really need to see the whole box because it's going to color code green or red. Or in fact, above would only color code green if the stock's above the FTD high. Below would only color code red if it's below the FTD low. So if I just scroll down through here, we do have a couple shorts. Apple, AMD.
Boy, we've got a little special topic about Apple today. Stocks are short. No way to cut it.
Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting. You've been saying that, and sure enough, here it is showing up on our spreadsheet by the numbers, not by opinion or bias or anything, but by the numbers, it's showing up short. So that's what this sheet's for. It's a fantastic sheet. We hope that you use it, obviously. That's why we give it to you every day and update it every day. We post a slide link, Tom, and then I'm going to go back to those slides.
All right, sound like a plan. I really appreciate you doing this too, Jonathan. That's very helpful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And now it's going to make. Well, I don't want to tell everybody the news what Jeffrey told me yesterday, but anyway, we'll save that special breaking news when it's official.
Hey Tom, today's the fourth day of the month of January. That means we have the FTD algo set. We just saw it. Here's your key numbers on a slide instead of on that spreadsheet. Might be easier to remember this way. The FTD algo high on the S&P is 69.91 and the low 68.66.
And folks, that is the story. And Jonathan, I just want you to go over the stats, what it means if we keep closing above 69.91 for the month of January. What does it mean? Stat wise, going back 5 years.
Going back 5 years, it was 87% accurate that if we have, to be specific, if we have an opening above the FTD algo high, so it's got to open above 69.91, all right, odds are 87% accurate over the past 5 years that the month ends positive.
Say that again. I want them to have the actual lever that lets people know what we're thinking. Say it again.
If the S&P 500 opens above the FTD algo high during any month, odds are 87% accuracy rate over the past 5 years, odds are the S&P will finish the month positive.
Now, let me ask you a question, folks out there listening in the radio world. If you had something that would put you 87% over 5 years on the right side of history, would you want to listen to that? I'm just asking. I don't care that the fact we came up with this, but use it. This is something we didn't have 10 years ago. Steve, FTD stands for first three trade day. Alan wants you to find the opening price. Okay, it's getting detailed. Define the opening price, what we call the opening price.
The opening price for futures is at night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Last night's open was 69.88. If tomorrow we open above 69.91, or tonight, when the market's open again, above 69.91, then it'll be clicked on. Thanks for a great question, Alan. Thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Alan. That's why I wanted Jonathan to cover it, because there's a lot of little things other than saying it says long. You got to know how to read it. Or like, you go from a grammar schooler to a high school graduate knowing those little things. Now, these are stocks that I looked at. They're not anything special other than the fact the characteristics of these stocks were they're trading near the high of the recent range. And I like the way they trade. And I got to thinking about giving you some stock ideas that you can track on your dashboard for maybe, putting in a retirement account or something like that. Because these trigger numbers I gave you are good numbers, I think, that you can use. Now, let me rephrase it. I know these numbers will get you on the right side of history if you see it close above these numbers, and especially if they open the next day above it. Just a few I like. Thought I'd share that with you. Do y'all notice that Palantir woke up today, was trying to go higher? Now, this is Palantir. If you look at it, the December high was 198, December low was 163, the January high is 181. So Palantir today is trading 182. So Palantir is setting up for a buy tomorrow. Palantir.
And I cycled down to Palantir. I'm just going to go back to the top when the charts start. Here's XLF.
XLF, financial sector. You've seen a lot of financial stocks do well, and this is a way to play it all. call it mutual fund of financial stock. GLD, we played it for years in this bull rally, but GLD now had a December high of 418 and January high of 413. So you got to get above that December high to really go truly bullish. But our rule is the high is 413 and it's at 408 right now. So you got a little work to get it into the afterburner stage. The diamond, boy, it set the world on fire this year. If you look at it, that 495.12 area on the diamond, that is a number that next time it goes there, I'm going to do some Delta 50 options. Silver. Now, I've always made clear between gold and silver, I always like silver better. You've heard me say that for the last 20 years. Well, once silver got above that 52 area in December, it was off to the races. And the high was 71.22 in December. We already been higher than that. And so 73.84, you get an opening above that, and then we're going to have another run. So it's corrected a little bit. That's okay. This is XLU. I happen to believe XLU, I've been trading it for years, and I think this is one I want to watch. It's not ready right now, but XLU is a stock, a way to diversify it in the utility area. Y'all remember a few years back, I showed you if you invest in XLU over a 5-year period, it would give you something like 150+% return with the dividends and everything included. So I always have included XLU in my favorites when it comes to trying to find utility stocks. And I like utility stocks. I think I told the story of a guy that told me when I didn't listen to him because I was young and dumb. He told me that, Tom, don't buy anything but utility stocks, reinvest the dividends and buy more of it. Guy had $1 million portfolio, and I think his profession was a painter. Okay. Way to go, Jim. Nice report from the Moonlight Trading Club. Way to go. NNE. Now, this is my nuclear stock. I think it went, if I remember correctly, to about 50 something last year. And this stock went down in early January, 23.88. It's reconfigured itself and about ready to go on another run. So I'm keeping it front and center. XBI, I went through the results. I think we traded this stock like 8 times last year. I don't want to put the kibosh on it, but this thing paid good every time we traded. It wasn't every month, but there was a cycle there. It paid pretty good. I want to keep it on the agenda. AGQ. Now this stock, I use it to trade silver futures. Well, Tom, how do you do that? Well, I'll watch AGQ, which is a ETF, a leverage ETF. I watch it because it sort of blows up the movement in silver, and that's just one of my little indicators I look at, AGQ. Palantir. Last year, I charged an interest on Palantir. The year before, they took me to the woodshed all year long, it seemed like, on this stock. At one point, I remember I had 1,000 shares of this thing, and it cratered on me. By the time I got out, it was ugly. Palantir. So that was not last year, year before last year. I finally learned how to trade Palantir. And those words that I utter all the time is, patience will pay. You got to have patience with this one. You got to get the right setup at the right time. And you got to get your money if you're trading it and move out. Now, I own it. Actually, the stock itself, not a big position in it, but I do own it. Joby, this is one we bought it. Y'all remember when we bought this one at 6? How many people remember when I bought this at 6? Joby. Joby said, I bought it with you. Crystal did too. Yeah. So Joby's setting up again. I think it looks pretty good. Joby, notice the 3-day high at 1659. Jonathan, if that thing opens above that 1659, will you let me know? I'd like to step on it a little bit.
1659, sure will.
Yep, that's a good one. Now, these 3 stocks I wanted to mention. Y'all know what these stocks do. I got a call last night from a customer about 9 o'clock at night. I thought, man, I'm in my movie time. I don't quit. I talked to him last night and he got me thinking. I said, I really like this MU. And he was talking about putting a position on and all that. We talked about that a little bit, but these 3 stocks, MU, STX, and WTC, I put on 3 trades this morning. I made about $1,000 commitment out to February. Would y'all like those 3 trades? I'll give them to you. I'm not going to keep up with them for you, but if you want it, I'll give you the options I did this morning on. Would you like to have them? All right. Let me read them to you. MU, I did, let me find that count. MU, where's the Oh, this account over here. I forgot which account I put it in. Okay. All right, here's what I did in MU. Okay. MU. All right, here's what I did. I bought the 340 call and sold the 370 call. This is a probe position, and it expires February the 20th. February the 20th. John, let's go on and make these official in TNT because I like to follow what I say. So you can put them in there if you want to in the TNT room. Okay.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. The second one I bought, same dollar investment, STX. I did that in this account over here. I got to remember which accounts I did it in, right? STX. I did the 300 call and sold the 330 call. That was February the 20th. Okay. On STX. And these are probes. And then I did MU. I think I gave you MU. I did WDC. Yeah, WDC. I did February 20th expiration. I did a 200, 230 call. And we'll keep up with those in the TNT room. Now, why did I do that? Couple reasons. I've been following MU and I've been watching STX and WDC. I think didn't they appear in the Afterburner program sometime last year, Jonathan?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, so I started following them from that, and I've been following. I really traded MU. I didn't trade STX and WTC until today, but my target. That's a great question. My target is somewhere between 20 and 50%. I'm probing it right now. So if you know the 3-day high for MU and you know the rule, which is the 3, did you put that in here, Jonathan, on these where we can look at it? Slides? Or we just put the names?
If you're talking about the trade you did, I'm going to add them as soon as I get
Yeah, but what I was saying, do we know what the 3-day high for MU was? Because if we get an opening above that, I'll add to the probe. I can look it up if you don't have it.
Tell you. Give me a moment, I can tell you.
Okay.
3-day high on Micron was 344.55. 344.55.
So if it opens at 345 tomorrow, I will go to the second phase of this probe. Okay. Everybody understand what I'll do? Okay. STX, what is its 3-day high?
3-day high on STX is 332.
Okay. So if it opens above that, I'll do the second phase there. And WDC,
That one's 221.23.
okay. Those are the three numbers. You ought to write those numbers down. I need, John, you mind giving them to me again? I'll put it in my book here.
Micron,
yeah.
344.55.
Okay. All right.
STX 332.
Okay.
And Western Digital 221.23.
I got those numbers. I'll set some alerts for myself personally, but those are numbers. If they get open higher now, but their stocks, I call them special mention because there's nothing frontline about it. And the money's got to sit there while they develop on the probe. Yeah, what I did is try to put about 1,000 on it. Now you can narrow the spread if you don't want to risk that much, okay? Yeah, if it hits higher than that opening price, I'll be adding to it. But I don't know. There's so many stocks out there. I had to put a little money on the line in this case to really watch it. And that's why I really did it, because these stocks got my attention. Yeah, I've entered all three of these stocks now on the probe. And you can wait until it sets up. I just did it because I wanted to have them in the account. Dormant money just sits there, so I thought I'd do it. Anyway, I wanted to cover that today where everybody could see it. Okay, special mention stock. Now, what does the ES tell us about the market? Anybody know what the ES tells us about the market? The Santa Claus rally was positive. That's the first step on the way to success. The 3-day algo is set. We want to see it get above 291. And actually, as Jonathan said, we want to see that S&P open above 69.91. Dominax 5-day indicator will conclude after tomorrow. And of course, don't forget about Dominax January barometer at the end of the month. Now, Jeffrey will cover this more in detail, okay? But I think that what I would do and what I would say is that look at the percentages. I read Barron's, I was going to say this. I read Barron's, like I said, it was a little, a lot of hedging going on in Barron's first edition of the year. And I thought, here's what I thought, rightfully or wrongfully, okay? I thought that they're hedging themselves, but I think that let the numbers speak for themselves. There's a question from David. We're at 69.91 now. Yes, David, it is meaningful. What it means is that put in conjunction with what's happening today, that once it gets above 7,000, it's a buy. because you can assume if it goes above 7,000, it's going to go higher. Then you can assume tonight maybe it opens above the 69.91, which confirms, which is at 6 o'clock tonight. It is meaningful. Okay. Good question. All right. Now, I wanted to do this today because it's such a critical day for us, and you probably want to keep this and listen to it. It really is. We're putting a lot of time showing you how to get set up and have a great foundation for this year. Okay. Now, these are 20, John, explain this slide, these targets, everything.
Well, these are the targets you gave me for 2026. The slide says it all. That's your targets that you wanted on the slide for the year 2026. Assuming everything goes positive and we're chugging along here, chugging along.
When did I give those to you?
This morning.
This morning?
Yep, sure did. Sure did.
Man, I forgot all about giving you that inside information. I'm sorry. Now I'm not going to look bright when we're at 750 on the S&P or the QQQ, and everybody goes, "Well, you didn't say anything about the Bitcoin up." I must have shared my inside trading book there, Jonathan. Yeah, y'all get to see the real stuff. Larry asked an interesting question. Once we hit those targets for oneself, well, Larry, let me go back and remind you what we did on gold. My target on gold, I told people a year out it was going to hit to 3,500. It was 2,300 at the time. People thought I was crazy, or not even knowing what I was talking about. It got to 3,500, and I told people it's going to consolidate for probably about 90 days. It consolidated for 64 days and then took off again. So these are just points that it gets there. You say to yourself, maybe, just maybe I ought to pull some chips off the table and think about things. That's what I do at these targets. Pull some chips off the table and think about things. That's the way I do it. If I'd been getting out of everything at targets my whole career, I'd still be out at 675 on the S&P. Futures, the S&P, it's fine. All right, this is good. With every good opportunity also comes stocks you need to avoid. Here's my top stocks to avoid this year so far, but I got a story to tell you. Apple. I wouldn't put your money on Apple long right now because y'all know I love Apple. It's not about whether I like Apple or don't like Apple. But I stayed out of Apple for a year and a half when it was in a big downturn. And eventually I got back in last year, but it was after April, I think, when I got back in. But look at the numbers. Forget it's Apple and look at the numbers. There's two things you can do by looking at the numbers. First, you take the opening, the high and low for the 3 days, and that sets you up for Apple. And Apple had a high of 277 and a low of 262. And if I look at Apple right now, it's at 261.65. What is that telling me? What it's telling me is that Apple is weak, and I can go make money in silver, MU, other stocks that are performing, right? Everybody got that? So put your money where it's going to pay you. You know how you know that you're wrong? The most simplest way to know you're wrong if you're long a stock like Apple, look at your net liquidation at the end of the day. And if it's down, you got to take action. All you have to do, hey, I think Apple's going up. Go buy it. In the day, you're losing money, you're probably on the wrong side of history. Who was the guy? Was it Einstein that had a saying? What was his saying? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. This is off the top of my head. Is the definition of insanity. So the general thought is don't do the same thing that costs you money. That's on Apple. John, you got anything else on Apple?
No, I know you wanted to mention Apple and
All right, let me tell you what it did last year, and I'll just give you the seasonal. It was at 248 at the start of January. It continued down to February 219, bounced in mid-February, eventually in March hit 209. Eventually it got back above 250 and turned bullish. I would say with that kind of information, it would argue, it'd take a lot for me to want to put money in Apple. If I'm in Apple, you know what I'm going to do? I don't care what I'm going to do. I look at my net lick and I say, screw Apple. I'm off to something that's going to make me money. Small losses turn into big losses when you don't follow that policy. I think I made my point. Now, the Dow Industrials, there's a strategy I was reminded of reading Barron's today. You can take the top 10 dividend payers in the Dow Jones. Now, you don't go just buy the top 10. The way you buy the top 10, you make sure that the 3-day algo says they're bullish. Everybody know what I'm talking about. John, you already include the 10 in our sheet, by the way. I think it would help people, you know?
they are there. Oh, these 10? Yeah, sure will.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That way, when they go to a long, they'll know if they're a dividend seeker, okay, it's time to get in. Would that help you all if we do that for you? No, Neil, this is not dogs the Dow. This is the top 10 dividend payers. Anybody like about 18% in their account? Anyway, this is a way to capture some dividends. Here the top 10 stocks are Verizon, Chevron. Now that's a good one, isn't it? Chevron, you know, that's one to look at. Merck, Amgen, Procter and Gamble. Hope Ed's out there listening. KO, Coca-Cola. Chuck's listening on that one. He's owned since childbirth. UNH, Home Depot, Nike, and J&J. Now, when did I say I'd buy these? When they went long on my 3-day algo. And Jonathan, I really appreciate you doing the research on that. Folks, do you think it's worth any money to be with me when I'm doing live trading? I mean, this is just, we invite you here free to educate you and do things. Do you think it might be worth some money to be with me when I'm doing live trading? I got to tell you, we had 100% of people in this program said do it and convinced me to do it the first quarter of this year. Okay. And I did it. So if you're interested, I do it Tuesday through Friday. I'm gonna order that. I will probably, Jonathan, let me just stop real quick. Do we have a Telegram channel for the live trading room?
Yeah, we do. Yep, sure do.
Yeah, probably what I'm going to do, I'll keep doing Tuesday through Friday through January, but I'll probably do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then post a trade on Friday in there, along with, during the week, to do it, because it's quite a commitment to be there 4 days a week, and I decided 3 would be good. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, because I like to take things down by the time I get to Friday. But there is some Friday trades that we can do, so I'll post those in the room. So we'll probably continue that. Okay. Our December record, we're 10 wins, 4 losses, 71% accuracy. Now, let me ask you a question. If you know I did 300 trades, I'm going to be 80% accurate. Wouldn't it make sense? I'm about to get hot. If I'm at 71 in December in this program. A lot of those losses were minor losses because I said I want to go flat, but I'm just telling you, I'm about to get hot, folks. I feel it. 28% return on SLV. I'll be playing that again, maybe as soon as today. All right, so we got a program here. It's $9.99, right, Jonathan, for the first quarter?
Yep, Q1 2026, 999. That's right. Just like this slide here says. Yep.
If you like to take what we teach you and see it in application live, we'll do it here. Any questions about the live trading program? How many people enjoyed today's presentation? Jonathan, I need to schedule another class with my SPX SSP. I've got another trade I want to teach people that's pretty awesome. Really awesome. I'm taking profit on it right now to the tune. It's a real good. I just finished my testing phase of it, Jonathan. They're gonna love it.
All right, I look forward to that.
Do we have something to play here?
Yeah, we do. I was just waiting for you to finish up. I can cue it up anytime.
I'll see everybody this afternoon at 1:30. Belly up to the bar. We're not going to drink. We're going to make money. Where are the recordings on XSP? You want to tell them where to record? I think you sign into the membership area, right?
Right, and it's called SPX Alerts. There on the membership area, SPX Alerts. All right, Tom, I'll cue up the video and we'll see you at 1:30. 1:30.
Folks,